Hey there, amazing viewers. Welcome back to our YouTube channel where we bring you your favorite manhwa recaps. Did you know that more than 90% of our viewers have not subscribed yet? So please, if you're enjoying our videos and want to be part of our awesome community, now is the perfect time to hit that subscribe button. Joining our subscriber family means you'll never miss out on any of our exciting content. So, take a quick second to click that big red subscribe button below. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay notified whenever we release a new video. Enjoy watching and stay awesome.
The story took place on one fine afternoon. There is a pretty girl who felt awkward towards someone she's talking to, because of the protagonist who has courage to express his feelings. The protagonist tried his best to express his genuine feelings towards his crush. The pretty girl's name is Da-yeon. The protagonist confessed that he developed his feelings ever since they were friends. But Da-yeon got the look of trying to figure out how to reject the protagonist without hurting his feeling. The protagonist immediately knew what Da-yeon was going to say. He apologized to Da-yeon that he might have put her in an awkward position since he's aware that Da-yeon doesn't like him. But Da-yeon was too afraid to hurt the protagonist's feelings. Da-yeon tried to sugarcoat her words and tried so hard to make up a reason for her conversation with Siwoo, the protagonist, to be over. Da-yeon pointed out all the Siwoo's good characteristics like being kind, fun, talented, and good-looking. Da-yeon was certain that she didn't hate Siwoo, but it's just that the feelings weren't mutual. Afterwards, Siwoo's friend was waiting for him at the school grounds. His friend noticed him finally getting out of the building and asked what happened to his confession to Da-yeon. But the friend thought it would be best to not just ask since Siwoo looked bummer and felt like dying. His friend tried to cheer him up since Siwoo cried so hard. Siwoo told his friend that the reason why Da-yeon rejected him was because she wanted to focus on her study. His friend already knew that the excuse was crap since Da-yeon isn't the type of student who has good grades. Siwoo was so depressed and blamed himself, until a soccer ball appeared and almost hit Siwoo. His friend was shocked to witness Siwoo having fast reflexes despite being busy to his depression. The players apologized for almost hitting Siwoo with their ball, but Siwoo seemed more focused on his hatred towards his body figure. His friend agreed with him since he had known Siwoo for a while, and tried multiples of diet plans and exercises. Siwoo was even good at sports and could jump so high despite his being overweight. And with every meal, he meticulously calculated the calories. His friend believed that people who are on a diet could follow Siwoo's healthy activity. Then, no one in the world would even get fat. His friend believed that Siwoo tried so hard to lose weight and fat that he became concerned and thought the protagonist should pay a visit to the hospital. Unfortunately, Siwoo's weight has nothing to do with his lifestyle, because the way he is was 99.9%. And pure genetics. Siwoo went home and was still depressed. He really wasn't that affected by the rejection. He was more depressed about his appearance. He wondered if his appearance really something had to do with genes. But as he looked at his parents' photo, his parents has a normal body figure, and especially his father who seemed to have a buffed body. Siwoo finds it unfair that he didn't get his parents' ideal body figure. Siwoo was lucky to have a sweet and caring mom that naturally would compliment her good-looking son to not make him feel bad about his weight. Also, Siwoo never met his father, though he heard stories regarding his father. He heard that his father was a very famous wrestler, although his father's period of activity was short, and his father had records and achievements that were truly overwhelming. And according to Siwoo's mother, he just has a physique where muscles would develop just by breathing. Siwoo really finds it irritating that his hard work is pretty useless. Since he had a long, hard day, he decided to just eat. While he prepared his meal, he thought it's pointless to be conscious with his diet since it doesn't even work. Siwoo was in a rebellion phase when he decided to eat as many as he wanted since his hard work only disappointed him. He decided to eat anything he wanted, including junk food. But then he just feels like it doesn't seem right to be unhealthy. It's like his body was more comfortable with his healthy lifestyle, that he had doubts opening a bag of chips. In the end, Siwoo decided to eat a salad, and still stuck with his healthy lifestyle even though his appearance has been stressing him out. Later that evening, Siwoo still didn't lose hope and decided to go for a jog. He ran for 4 kilometers. He continuously ran until it was midnight. He felt like he didn't want to stop since his current record was faster than his previous records. He kept playing the scenario of getting rejected to pump himself up until he reached his body goal. After a while, it has already been in the middle of the night. Siwoo's current distance was 15.4 kilometers. Siwoo finally reached his limits. His body started to cramp for running too far without even realizing it. But Siwoo found an unfamiliar place with such a foggy and chilling atmosphere. Luckily, Siwoo has a map to guide his way home. Until an old man who looked like it came out from urban legend story appeared in front of Siwoo, calling him out for his appearance. This old man looked like he had a grudge against Siwoo because of his bloodline. The old man ascended to be near with Siwoo. Siwoo was startled since it was his first time witnessing a person who looked like it could only be seen in fairy tales. Siwoo was deeply terrified of the old man, yet he still asked the old man if he was okay for jumping off the bridge just to take a closer look of him. The old man assures that there's no need for Siwoo to be afraid since he doesn't intend to devour him. The old man introduced himself as Grandpa Mangti. He is similar to Boogaman, a legend that bad children who didn't listen to their parents are put in the nettle and taken away by Grandpa Mangti. But currently, Grandpa Mangti is taking care of the yokai in his world's peninsula, and he also took the role as a divine judge. By the looks of Siwoo, Grandpa Mangti noticed that Siwoo has no knowledge about the world he's in. Grandpa Mangti slowly pulled his nettle thinking about making Siwoo see for himself about the yokai world, until he covered Siwoo's body with a nettle, and abducted him like he does with bad children. But the way he covered Siwoo's body with a nettle was terrifyingly tight. Siwoo tried his best to resist, but the nettle was just magically tight. Siwoo was confused since he had no idea about the bloodlines nor the yokais. Siwoo was finally dropped to an unknown place. The place looked so magical that it was filled with pink light. Siwoo was still trying to recover from getting strangled by the nettle, but as he looked around the place, he found himself being at the yokai world that looked like it was in Goguryeo era. Siwoo was speechless, like he was dragged straight up inside a fairy tale world, but Grandpa Mangti introduced it as the world of yokai. Grandpa Mangti advises Siwoo to look further to his left and right, until he finally saw himself being surrounded by mythical creatures, or yokai in terms of culture. Siwoo couldn't explain the phenomena since he was just busy with his health earlier, and suddenly an old man abducted him to witness the world of yokai. Grandpa Mangti shared a brief history about the yokai who was once feared by humans, that the human race regarded the yokais as gods and worshipped them. But in the modern world, the yokais are nothing but superstitions and exist only as imaginations. And also, the yokais celebrate the great festival once every 666 years to select the king of yokai. Grandpa Mangti also included an information that yokai clans exist in the entire world, including the Korean peninsula, wherein they must select and send out young yokai with outstanding talents as candidates. And 666 years ago, there's a man, a yokai stood tall, and known as their king. But then time had passed and the yokai world now seeks for an heir to throne the late known legend. Siwoo panicked since he realized he had been chosen as the candidate of the yokais. Grandpa Mangti once again explained that every yokai clan must send at least one candidate, including the yokai world and the human world. But to Siwoo's surprise, he became pale when Grandpa Mangti revealed that he is the only one who inherited the goblin's bloodline. Though Siwoo seemed to be at the 5th or 4th generation and his bloodline mixture was pretty light, Siwoo began to shiver with the way he speaks since he really doesn't want to be a part of any yokai business, until he felt something malicious coming straight forward to his way. As he looked up, he saw a yokai who's about to attack him. But then the creature landed right in front of him with such an overwhelming entrance. Grandpa Mangti wishes to put Siwoo to the test whether it is complete nonsense or not. But with how the duel looked, it was quite unfair, especially the yokai was gigantic compared to Siwoo's body. Grandpa Mangti doesn't wish to hold back. When brutally ordered the yokai that if he defeated Siwoo, he consented the yokai to eat the defeated opponent. Siwoo's opponent is known to be the big mouth yokai named Geogugwi. Geogugwi was too bloodthirsty since it's been already 666 years the last time he ate a human race. Siwoo was completely terrified since he's aware that he's no match for the Geogugwi. The Geogugwi didn't hesitate to counterattack, and instantly punched Siwoo in the gut. The Geogugwi went all in when he kicked Siwoo right after he punched him to completely dominate the duel. The yokais didn't acknowledge that Siwoo is just a teenage boy, yet no one thought of holding back. Grandpa Mangti believed that even though Siwoo inherited the blood of a goblin, they couldn't just give the throne to Siwoo, especially since he is a human being. Grandpa Mangti dared Siwoo to prove his worth in order for him to live. But Siwoo didn't ask for any of the phenomena to suddenly happen. He was trying to recover from all the injuries that Geogugwi gave him until his body was snatched and was forced to be thrown away. While holding Siwoo's body covered with severe injuries and blood, Geogugwi doesn't wish to give his opponent a chance to breathe, until Siwoo was instantly smashed on the ground. Despite his human body being beat up, it was surprising that he was still alive. Even Geogugwi noticed that Siwoo is quite tough, but he is on his last resort to take Siwoo's life. With his sharp nails and gigantic hand, he will attempt to smash Siwoo's body like a splatted insect. He was so excited to think he would devour human meat again after so many decades. But as soon as his hands met Siwoo's body, the ground mysteriously glowed like something just transformed. But for Grandpa Mangti, he was just waiting for that moment. Geogugwi's hands couldn't touch the ground due to the amount of force that Siwoo unexpectedly has. Gugui wondered what was stopping him from smashing Siwoo, until it was revealed that Siwoo has a superhuman ability. Grandpa Mangti was just waiting for that moment since he is fully aware that the abilities possessed by the goblins were truly limitless. Nevertheless, the ones who inherited the goblins' blood, their most representative ability and weapon were their strength. Siwoo, who was completely insecure with his body figure, suddenly became a buffed person. It was like his body finally showed the results of his hard work for the past years. Meanwhile, Gugui didn't expect that he would just face his match. Though, goblins aren't like any yokai, since goblins could learn without being taught, due to the talents ingrained in their body instinct. Siwoo gathered all his strength to flip his opponent's body, until he looked like he was trying to summon a technique that he hadn't learned yet. All of a sudden, Siwoo did the Siram move, which is a traditional form of wrestling that has been practiced in Korea for centuries. Until the yokai world had a massive explosion when Siwoo managed to smash Gugui's body on the ground. After the weird phenomena, Gugui was defeated in one hit by none other than Siwoo. Choi Si-woo, a 17-year-old teenage boy, whose race is human, has finally awakened his real form and revealed himself to be half goblin. Back to reality, Siwoo was currently at a convenience store. He tried to tell his experience in the yokai world last night, but then his body figure turned back to being overweight. Siwoo kept picturing himself slamming the Gugui on the ground. Siwoo's best friend didn't mind how weird his dream was and just kept listening to his crazy experience. Though he finds it weird that Siwoo was getting beat up in his dream since most people do not have that kind of violent dream. And more strange thing was that Siwoo never learned wrestling in his life, yet he pulled it off in an instant. Siwoo felt so vivid about his dream, like he already knew what he was doing from the start. Siwoo felt like if he is already a pro at wrestling, like if he attempted to wrestle someone currently, he'd be able to pull out the same move he did to Gugui. But then his best friend only laughed at him because of his dream full of mythical creatures. But then Siwoo realized that his weird dream might just be the effects from being so stressed out. He thought maybe he was just so obsessed with losing weight that he also dreamed of being muscular. Until Siwoo snapped back to the real reality. He was shocked to see himself back at the yokai world. Siwoo was deeply confused when he realized that everything that had occurred last night was real. Grandpa Mangti told Siwoo that he fell asleep while standing up. Siwoo realized that his dream being at a convenience store with his best friend was just a dream. He then looked on his side as he remembered dueling with a yokai, and saw Gugui being totally defeated and knocked out. He was startled that a mere human like him could win against a gigantic creature. He had a lot of questions in his mind about his real nature, but importantly, he was more concerned about his home. While Siwoo was having identity crisis, Grandpa Mangti was talking to the yokai girl beside him. The yokai girl was a bit disappointed in Siwoo since she is expecting a more extravagant situation for a half-human. The yokai girl has an arrogant behavior when she immediately insulted Siwoo by defining him stupid and pathetic. She even had a nerve to doubt Siwoo's existence for having a goblin bloodline. But Grandpa Mangti disagreed since Siwoo really pulled an impressive fighting performance. But the yokai girl was actually expecting Siwoo to use impressive magic instead of strength. It seems like the yokai girl didn't acknowledge the fact that Siwoo just found out about his existence with no knowledge about the yokai world or whatsoever. Grandpa Mangti excused the yokai girl's rude behavior. Since Siwoo's evaluation was over, he was hoping to head back home. Grandpa Mangti was done with Siwoo's judgment when he was asleep, and he was certain that Siwoo proved himself admirably. While Grandpa Mangti consulted Siwoo, he recalled his emotions when he witnessed the potential of a half-human being. Siwoo, who took down Gugui in one shot, has been hiding his real strength all this time. Based on Grandpa Mangti's judgment, Siwoo seemed to have the goblin's blood in him. It's been a while since Grandpa Mangti witnessed a goblin did a Siram move. He couldn't take his eyes off Siwoo like he was just reminiscing about someone he once knew. Afterwards, Grandpa Mangti announced a promising judgment, including all the witnesses who had gathered to watch the duel and especially for Siwoo. Grandpa Mangti declared that Siwoo is now officially a yokai and not a human. He ordered all yokais to spread the news about what happened throughout Busan. Grandpa Mangti was really looking forward for the festival, especially now that he had come across a goblin. Since Siwoo is now a monster, the yokai law registered his name as an official yokai, and no one will be able to capture or harm Siwoo unless they have a valid reason to do so. But Siwoo didn't care and just wanted to go home. The yokai girl was frustrated that Siwoo just wanted to go home. The yokai girl informed Siwoo that unless he gained recognition for his ability to completely conceal his identity among humans, a monster who hasn't reached 500 years of age won't be able to venture into the human realm. Siwoo was deeply confused because of his innocence, but then his reaction left Grandpa Mangti no choice but to kill him since Siwoo kept resisting to return to his real world. Siwoo immediately avoided Grandpa Mangti. But then he surprised himself to witness his fast reflexes. But not only could he respond quickly to a threat, he was able to ascend higher than he expected. Siwoo hoped that the two yokai he faces won't react violently again just because he wanted to go back to his real world. As for Grandpa Mangti, he hoped Siwoo got the gist of the situation. Though Siwoo is in denial, he is now considered to be a monster. Even moments prior he felt like his body trembled. Grandpa Mangti explained that among the monster species, the goblin species' power is undoubtedly considered to be the best. Even if Siwoo is in a state that is akin to a newly awakened, Siwoo's strength will easily exceed than an ordinary human dozens of times over. Because for an ordinary human body, it would naturally be ruined if it was held the wrong way. Siwoo understood Grandpa Mangti's lecture about his real nature, but Siwoo was just concerned that he must wait for 500 years. Fortunately, Grandpa Mangti assured that Siwoo would only need half a year. Because in the yokai world, the only reason why there was a 500-year restriction is because the previous Crown King wrote the law, but since they have finally reached the certain point, the next Crown King could rewrite the law. Grandpa Mangti shared a story occurred 666 years ago. Back then, all monsters were free to enter and exit the human realm. Because of how powerful the yokais were, all humans could do was to run away. Humans would tremble and fear the yokais, especially whenever it appeared at night. But then, not all yokais are bad. Sometimes, there are yokais who would protect the humans from their own kind. And those protecting yokais includes Gyogugwe, a mythical legend who's known to protect humans from bad yokais. Some humans back then relied on the human-friendly species that lived among them. In conclusion, the humans would either fear or worship the yokais. That was humanity's attitude towards the yokais 666 years ago. But after the festival 666 years ago, there was a newly crowned king. On the day he ascended to the throne, the king wrote down a new law using the blood of the monsters that he had killed. And because of his restriction, the yokais were prohibited from harming humans and even revealing ourselves nor approaching humanity. Ever since then, humans no longer feared the yokais. Rather, people are oblivious to yokais' existence by thinking all yokais are just fictional creatures from folktales. Grandpa Mangti hinted Siwoo that he at least must be the new crowned king to rewrite the law of the yokai world. And on the night of the festival, once the sun sets in the human realm, it will be the moment that all monsters have been longing for to come and visit the human world. And on that monster night, all creatures of the monster realm will rush into the human realm and awaken the forgotten fears and reverence within humanity. Because of Grandpa Mangti's statement, Siwoo realized that he must at least help the yokais to prevent from committing chaos on the human realm. Grandpa Mangti lets Siwoo to do what he pleases in the yokai world, but he still advised him to learn how to harness his powers. Siwoo then wondered how he could harness his own power. Grandpa Mangti didn't tell Siwoo directly, but he hinted that once Siwoo harnessed his power, he would be one of the strongest yokai existed. For a brief moment, Grandpa Mangti noticed Siwoo had made a determined expression. He wondered what was going on in Siwoo's head. Siwoo straightforwardly answered Grandpa Mangti that he wanted to prevent the monsters from touching the humanity. For a 17-year-old boy, Grandpa Mangti believed it is impossible to make precise predictions. However, Siwoo is certain that the world will become more dangerous for all humanity. At the very least, Siwoo must step up in order to protect those who are dear to him. Grandpa Mangti could tell that harnessing a power like Siwoo wouldn't be that complicated since the goblin blood coursing in his body is extremely powerful, though it is not comparable to a pure blood goblin. Though, Grandpa Mangti is certain that once Siwoo mastered his incredible power, he'd be invincible to other yokais. But as much as possible, Grandpa Mangti wanted Siwoo to win in the festival to be the king of the monsters. With that, Siwoo has the power to rewrite the law. But then the yokai girl couldn't stop spouting some insulting words by telling Siwoo that he has no chance in winning the festival. Since the yokai girl was being a bit of an attention seeker, Grandpa Mangti decided to introduce her. The yokai girl's name was Sialho. She is a child who's going to participate in the festival on behalf of her own people, but Sialho seemed to be competitive around Siwoo. Sialho remembered that Grandpa Mangti made a qualification test in order for the yokais to enter the human realm. She swore that if the test was a lie, she'd go to wrath. Grandpa Mangti just ignored Sialho's rudeness and explained to Siwoo that Sialho just wanted to enter the human realm. Grandpa Mangti kept putting off dealing with Sialho since he already has a lot on his plate, but Sialho was too persistent. And since the monsters will soon enter the human realm in 6 months, Siwoo thought it would be better to test Sialho on that day. Until Sialho became defensive by making a reason that she doesn't even need to take the test since there are monsters weaker than her that became dormant for 500 years. Grandpa Mangti is fully aware of Sialho's potential, And that's his reason why it was difficult to judge Sialho's qualifications, since she is the type of person who has no patience and self-control. Sialho took all the criticisms and hoped it wasn't just an excuse to avoid making a deal with her. But then there's actually a reason why Sialho was summoned by Grandpa Mangti on that night. Grandpa Mangti believed it was a perfect timing to see how Sialho would blend in with the humans. And Sialho's test will include Siwoo, who's a human being. Grandpa Mangti believed that his way is better to judge her qualifications. After Grandpa Mangti revealed his plan, Sialho wasn't pleased. Grandpa Mangti didn't have any second thought and would only give Sialho a period duration until the end of the month to teach Siwoo the basics of being a monster, including the transformation magic. And if Grandpa Mangti saw a positive progress after a month, he will judge Sialho and Siwoo if they are qualified into the human realm. Even though the test was fair and completely humane, Sialho still had a negative reaction. Sialho thought it would be unfair to teach a human all the monster basics within a month. But in Grandpa Mangti's defense, it would have been better if Sialho got a chance of waiting for a month. But since she's too much of a spoiled brat, she has no choice but to wait for 6 months instead. Grandpa Mangti left the two of them with two clear choices, whether Sialho should teach Siwoo or just wait for 6 months. Grandpa Mangti believed that their right choices could lead them to a better opportunity. Until Grandpa Mangti leaves while being covered by a nettle and ascended up to the skies, the two of them were left to decide an easy path. Until Sialho decided to swallow her pride by starting to ask Siwoo a question. She then asked about the monster force, which Siwoo had zero knowledge of. But then Sialho easily gave up on Siwoo, thinking she's definitely not going to pass the test. Until something terrifying had caught Siwoo's eyes. When he saw Gyogugwi, who finally got his senses back after being defeated. It seemed that Gyogugwi still had a grudge against Siwoo. Siwoo panicked since Grandpa Mangti is nowhere to be seen to stop Gyogugwi. But the Gyogugwi's presence doesn't scare Sialho. She then insulted Gyogugwi that because of a creature like him, other monsters were insulted by humans. Because of her offensive statement, she only provoked the Gyogugwi to attack her. The Gyogugwi was so mad, but Sialho was still calm. But the Yokai world was really different. Because unlike the human race, where there is no superiority between races, for monsters, there is a significant difference in terms of species and lineage. The difference among monsters is determined by the disparity between their average potential and specific skills and abilities that each possesses, which creates their distinct class within the monster realm. But since that pure blood goblins have disappeared, opinions differ on which bloodline deserves to be referred to as the highest class in the Yokai Korean peninsula. But if they put aside their pride, many monsters would reluctantly give the same answer. And their answer would be monsters like Sialho, known as the Wicked Beasts. Sialho's race, which is infamous for foxes that hide their 9 tails, are said to be the closest to the pinnacle of the monsters on the Yokai Korean peninsula. Siwoo was left alone with Sialho, and Sialho attacked and chained the Yokai using his magic powers that Siwoo does not know or have learned about magic. Siwoo stood in front of Sialho and was frozen in surprise at what Sialho did to the Yokai. Sialho showed him the reality of what he has to accept and adapt sooner or later, as he has the genes of a goblin. As Sialho attacks the Yokai, as Siwoo looks at him, he then tells him what magic was. Sialho uses the Yokai to show his magic powers to Siwoo and to tell Siwoo what magic was. She told Siwoo that magic is the ability to consume and use energy forces. Sialho explained to Siwoo that there are 2 types of magic that is divided into unique magic and acquired magic, which Sialho thinks that the first unique magic was already known to Siwoo. The example of unique magic is Goblin Siren, a rare specific ability that the goblin's bloodline remembers. Sialho told Siwoo that using the ability will not require him to learn anything special, and will be as easy as breathing when Siwoo gets comfortable using the ability. In using the acquire magic, any yokai or monster can use it as long as they learn the magic. Learning and training are essential for using the acquire magic, and the quality of skill of the monster learning it, as Sialho had said. The yokai that was bind on chain because of Sialho has neglected its training because he was complacent about his natural size and strength, and now was humiliated by a simple binding that Sialho has done to him. The yokai trembles and tries to escape but couldn't because of Sialho's magic power. Sialho told Siwoo that the yokai was the kind of monster that was grossly inferior to her. Sialho was explaining things to Siwoo and affirmed to him what she wanted to do in order to clear things up in advance, as she was about to teach Siwoo to use magic. She told Siwoo that she does not like annoying processes when he teaches him, and if the results were bad after a series of training. She threatened Siwoo that he would feel his wrath and just tell her early if he is not ready and give up as soon as possible. Siwoo looked at her worriedly as he heard the conditions. Sialho added that she thinks it will be hard for Siwoo to adapt for someone who was a human a few minutes earlier, and suddenly turned his life upside down by being a half-goblin that he did not know about his true identity. Sialho threatens Siwoo that he might even die by Sialho's hands if he disappoints her throughout the training process. But Siwoo was determined to learn and train, as he told Sialho that if she teaches him, he will do his best or die trying. Sialho was confused why Siwoo was still determined to learn after what she said. Siwoo affirmed to Sialho that he really needs to learn no matter what her condition, and was not in the place to worry what will happen to him in the future. As she listens to Siwoo's determination, Sialho smirks and is still sure that Siwoo is likely to fail in the process, and thinks that it will be better for him not to try at all. Sialho told and asked Siwoo if they should have a meal first, and Siwoo was curious why Sialho was asking him for a meal. Sialho told Siwoo that having a meal is helpful, as what she said earlier, that it takes consuming forces to perform magic. She showed Siwoo her magic and told him that force is the power of all the inhabitants of their monster world, and Siwoo would not have a lot right now. Sialho told him that Siwoo could accumulate magic forces naturally just by breathing in the air of the monster world and eating food and water from their world. But Siwoo had just arrived in the monster world. For Siwoo, nothing could accumulate with only his normal diet of the human world, and the power he had since birth is what he should have. She smirks and laughs at Siwoo as he asks him if he's hungry, and that he must have starved after all the work he had done earlier when he first entered the monster world. Siwoo kindly denied. Sialho told her that he was not hungry at the moment. Suddenly, an unusual feeling was felt by Siwoo. Siwoo instantly trembled and struggled as his veins were popping out of his body. He was shocked by what was happening to him and looked at his hands confusedly and did not know what was happening. Sialho looks at how Siwoo struggles, as she had already told her earlier that he had very little force left on him because of the yokai that he fought earlier. Sialho told Siwoo that he had little force left on him because of what he did earlier, as he saved little power from the human world and suddenly used it on the monster world. Siwoo must have been exhausted just coming in from the monster world, and that made a typical depletion of the force. She walks to him as he struggles and holds him in his back, saying that there is a solution to Siwoo's struggle. Sialho whispers in his ear as she was saying to Siwoo if he can see the state of the yokai monster. The yokai has been struggling to break free ever since he was bound by Sialho's magic. Sialho told Siwoo that there are rules among monsters. She said that if a judge had declared the winner of the formal duel, the life of the loser's life is in the hands of the winner. Siwoo trembles and could not believe Sialho as she tells him that the most effective and simple way to consume force is to eat the monster and consume his force. With the monster's size, it will be a good meal for Siwoo, and his hunger will go right away after he consumes the monster's force. Siwoo moved by himself towards the monster like he was being controlled and not in control of his mind. Siwoo moves with his monster instinct. The monster trembled as Siwoo was walking towards him. For the first time in Siwoo's life, he felt a hunger that a normal being would not understand. A hunger to eat the monster to consume its force is what Siwoo was feeling right now. Sialho looked at Siwoo walking towards the monster as he fueled Siwoo's desire, as she whispered in his ears, telling him that the only way to solve his problem and stop the struggle was to eat the monster and consume its force. The only thing Siwoo was thinking at the moment is to feed his hunger. The monster trembled as he thought that Siwoo would eat him. But Sialho seems not to think that the goblin's true nature was greedy. Sialho looked at Siwoo surprisingly, as the goblin's greedy nature will try to capture a prey that is much more nutritious and delicious, like Siwoo thought of Sialho. Siwoo attempts to attack Sialho as he finds her more nutritious than the monster and will gain a lot of force. Sialho was surprised because he did not expect Siwoo to attack and tried to eat him. She uses his magic powers on him like what he did to the monster and chained him up. A great amount of power was released by Sialho. She told Siwoo that no matter how hungry he is, he should not be arrogant, as he thinks that he can eat Sialho. Sialho mocks Siwoo, saying that a half-goblin like him really thinks that he can eat a nine-tailed fox. Siwoo looked at Sialho as she chained him, but his mind was only thinking that Sialho was his prey. Sialho thought that Siwoo was underestimating her by his physical appearance. Before even Sialho could finish her sentence to try to teach Siwoo a lesson, he had already preyed on her. Siwoo broke off the chain that was binding him with his bare hands, and Sialho could not believe that Siwoo did that. Sialho was surprised that even if one chain has broken, she was surprised that he can break it just with his arm strength. Siwoo immediately attacks Sialho as soon as he breaks free from the chain, but Sialho was able to dodge it before it even hits her. Siwoo was still not in a normal state and continued to look Sialho as his prey. Sialho thought that even if Siwoo was a half-goblin and half-human, a goblin is a goblin. She pulls out one of her nails and tells Siwoo that she has acknowledged him. Siwoo was persistent and continued to aggressively attack Sialho. Sialho drew a magic circle using his blood and summoned the blessed Great King Demon's one fist. A large red fist appeared and tried to attack Siwoo. Siwoo was immediately alarmed as the red fist of the demon came to him. Sialho ordered the demon to attack Sialho as it faces Siwoo. She summoned the palm and a great intense magic was released into the palm of the Great King. The intense magic hits Siwoo as he tries to defend himself. Even the big monster that Siwoo fought earlier was caught by the intense magic Sialho has released. The intense magic that Sialho has released to the demon's palm pushed Siwoo back and the monster disappeared from her sight. Sialho was mocking him as he thinks that Siwoo did not make it alive. She thinks that even if he was dead, he would be already asking for death when he first attacked her. Before Sialho could even finish her thought, she saw Siwoo standing. She was surprised that Siwoo can even stand after the attack that it took him. Siwoo had changed appearance and a thorn grew in his forehead. Even though Siwoo has just awakened, only a few goblins could be chosen to be enlightened for their own magic. As Siwoo showed his ability to become a symbol of the goblin race, he held his thorn and broke it. The thorn that he broke turned into a weapon. Sialho thought that even though Siwoo was just a half-goblin, he had shown a lot of sides even if he just awakened. Siwoo held the thorn that immediately became a weapon and was ready to attack Sialho as he preys on her and wants to eat and consume his force. Sialho was shocked after seeing the appearance of Siwoo. Sialho was an outstanding monster that had attained 9 tails even before reaching the age of 100. A talent that she has gained from a Korean peninsula demon fox family in 1,000 of years. She could already sense the pressure after encountering Siwoo in the state he was in at the moment. Siwoo's ability tells the Goblins Club and Sialho how dangerous the wicked item she was about to face for the first time in her life as she lives on the monster world. Sialho thinks that she won't lose to Siwoo if she thinks of the force amount Siwoo had than hers. She can feel that she won't lose but was unsure of the aura that Siwoo was giving off. Siwoo stepped and had already charged towards Sialho. Sialho was surprised by how fast Siwoo is that he was already near her. Siwoo had already changed his transformation to Goblins Club and was about to attack Sialho a thunder strike. Sialho also charged towards him and had already come up with a plan. The two had made an explosion after they clashed with each other. Sialho was unharmed and thought of a feeling she had felt. The club of goblins was felt by Sialho, her summoned Great King who had captured Siwoo's weapon. Siwoo was still holding his weapon even if it was held by Sialho's magic. Sialho was already in position and smiled as she wanted to show Siwoo what she had as well. The fist gripped tight to Siwoo's weapon as it was not releasing it. The fist pulled Siwoo over as he was still holding the weapon. The fist shaked and pulled Siwoo over and over again and Siwoo still hadn't released his hands to let go of the weapon. Sialho had smashed Siwoo's body on the ground and created a large bang. Sialho thinks that Siwoo was already finished after the last blow she had done. The fist threw Siwoo on the ground and was still holding the Goblins Club. Sialho thought that the endurance of Siwoo was sickening because he had get his act together after having to smash him down about 6 or 5 times. Suddenly, the Goblins Club moved and was likely to pull the fist of what Sialho summoned. A force was trying to pull Sialho's demon and was likely to be Siwoo. Sialho was shocked by what he saw and what was happening. A force was still trying to pull the demon's fist. Siwoo had stood up after getting smashed down a few times by the demon and was already trying to pull the Goblins Club weapon. Sialho could not believe that even if she just summoned one arm, Siwoo could not possibly fight against the prostrating demon emperor. Siwoo kept trying to pull the Goblins Club from the demon's grip. He gripped his tight as he was pulling and was challenging the demon to let go of the weapon. Finally, the demon's grip on the Goblins Club came loose and Siwoo was able to retrieve the Goblins Club to Sialho. The Goblins Club was a tool that freely changes forms according to its user's will and purpose. The Goblins Club has changed its form as Siwoo was already attempting to attack Sialho. In the past, where goblins and monsters were alive and well, monsters would call the Goblins Club a weapon that can become anything that you desire. Siwoo used the Goblin Club to attack Sialho. Sialho notices that Siwoo and the shape and attack method have both changed to make it hard for her to respond. The cost-effectiveness and practical ability of Siwoo's magic was at a ridiculous level. Sialho had summoned 2 fists from the Great Demon Emperor. Siwoo was still unconscious and ready to attack Sialho. Sialho thinks that rather than giving Siwoo an ample amount of firepower, she thought of the deception of the Great Prostrating Demon Emperor. A chaotic hand slap was done by Sialho and many fists were about to attack Siwoo. Siwoo quickly gripped tight on the Goblins Club and was ready to defend himself. He attacked all the fists that Sialho released with her magic. Sialho thought that Siwoo was hard to deal with and that after all the attacks she made, he was still enduring. She thought that demons that reach 100 or 200 years old will be no match to him. She has thought and contemplated why goblins were so good for a half-goblin like Siwoo who had just awakened. Sialho observes Siwoo and thinks that he might be finished and this is the end of their match. No matter how strong Siwoo is and how effective his attacks were, Sialho noticed that Siwoo's magic is finally reaching its limit. Sialho thought that if the fight goes on, he will keep going until His body breaks apart. She thought that she would have to do something to stop the fight. Siwoo keeps attacking her with the Goblin's club weapon like he was not tired from all the attacks. Sialho was about to summon 3 tails but suddenly changed to 5. She summoned 5 tails and told Siwoo that she has every reason to be proud. Siwoo could not be stopped and was in range, so he kept attacking Sialho. Sialho told Siwoo that even if it's his first time, the opponent who emits that much is an actual fight. She has released the deception of the great prostrating demon emperor that shows half of its body. Siwoo had already attempted to attack the demon aggressively. The great prostrating demon emperor was ready to strike Siwoo and defend his attack. The demon released 5 connections and 6 cut first strikes as it attacked the charging Siwoo. The attack made a great explosion that even the unconscious Siwoo was blinded by the attack. The demon and Sialho stood as they saw Siwoo lays on the ground. After the attack of the demon, Siwoo helplessly lays on the ground. Siwoo was panting after he took the attack from the demon. Sialho told Siwoo that he will die soon. The collapse caused by the magic depletion has already begun and Siwoo was experiencing it already. Sialho told Siwoo that he was the one to blame if he died because he did not know his place and could not even know to the point his body was breaking apart. Sialho thinks that Grandpa Boogaman will scold her if Siwoo dies. Sialho noticed that Siwoo was acting strange. Siwoo was crying and calling out for his mom. Sialho looked at him like she was concerned about Siwoo. She lifts up Siwoo using her magic and tries to help him as he was whining about his mom. Sialho pointed her fingers and let Siwoo come to her. She held Siwoo's head as she kissed him in his lips. Sialho had given Siwoo something in his mouth as it glows like a force that Siwoo needs. She throws Siwoo on the ground as she finishes giving him the fox bead. Siwoo's appearance had calmed and so did he, and Sialho told him that he gave him a fox bead. Sialho told Siwoo to return it from investments or he will be punished by Sialho if he didn't. Siwoo has awakened after the battle he had with Sialho. He had woken up from his deep sleep and immediately got up. Siwoo woke up and was confused about where he was. Suddenly, the door opened and someone was about to enter the room. Sialho walked inside the room carrying a small cup that she seems to give to Siwoo. She looked at horribly and thought of the fight that happened earlier. Siwoo looked at her awkwardly because of the stare she was giving him. Sialho brought Siwoo a cup of drink after he woke up. Siwoo quickly apologizes to Sialho after he woke up. Siwoo remembered all the things he did earlier when he fought with Sialho. Siwoo remembers how he goes rampage and could not believe how it is possible that despite of him being aware of what's happened, he couldn't control his body. He knelt in front of Sialho and sincerely apologizes for what he did. He knew that Sialho was only trying to help him, but instead, he attacked Sialho and puts her in danger. Sialho stared at Siwoo as he apologizes. Sialho did not respond to what Siwoo had said and ordered him to drink. Siwoo raises his head as he was confused if he heard correctly what Sialho had said. Sialho pointed on the cup of drink she brought when she came in earlier and told Siwoo to drink it before it gets cold. He quickly held the drink and thanked Sialho as he wonders what kind of drink it was and thought that if it's like Oriental medicine. Siwoo takes a sip of the drink that Sialho gave him even if he does not know what it tastes like. As he drinks it, he trembled and was about to puke because of how bad the taste of the drink is, but Sialho told him that she would kill him if he spits the drink. Siwoo got curious and asked Sialho what kind of drink she gave him, and Sialho told him that knowing what kind of ingredient the drink is made of won't help him finish the drink. He continues to drink it even if it tasted horrible for him, and Sialho said he won't pester Siwoo as he drinks and listen to her while finishing what he's drinking. Sialho told Siwoo that he must have something important that he forgot, and Siwoo immediately thinks what Sialho was saying. Sialho mentioned that the giant mouth goblin monster that she chained earlier and who Siwoo fought must have escaped and run away while the two of them were fighting. The ownership of the giant mouth goblin will still be Siwoo's. Sialho told him that the monster was probably hiding somewhere and will be curling up for 100 of years, since the monster knows the ownership will work right away if he's caught. Sialho told Siwoo that he's drinking a tonic perfect for a half-goblin like him. Siwoo asks if there are no alternative method for him to learn and not kill monsters as part of his training. Sialho told Siwoo that there is no alternative method and tells him to look at himself and thinks if he is still a human. Sialho said to him that if he was not prepared to hurt someone in the process of getting stronger, then he should already back out. Siwoo quickly stops what Sialho was saying and told her that it's not that he did not want to get stronger. The thought of killing or eating monsters still hasn't sunk in, and it's true that he does not want to do any of that. He thinks carefully of the situation that no matter who it is or what they are, in his point of view, the monster who is going to kill are dangerous monsters who hurt people, and if he does not do things correctly, in a few months after the monsters can go in the human world, the people he loves and know will face a terrible fate. Siwoo was determined on training with Sialho and told her that if needs to kill, he'll kill, and if he needs to eat the monsters, he'll eat them with no hesitation. Siwoo told Sialho that he will do everything to learn and do his utmost. Siwoo tells Sialho that he did not ask for an alternative method not because he's not willing to eat the monsters, and was just asking in case there is not another chance for it. Sialho repeats to Siwoo that the most effective way to increase his monster force was to eat another monster. But it's only possible to eat the monsters if it's a duel the both have agreed upon. Sialho told him that there is no rule like that. Weak monsters will be caught and eaten and probably won't survive. She added that monsters who are an easy prey won't come at him anymore because of the fight he won earlier. Even if Siwoo was known to be a half-goblin, countless monsters had already saw that he was a goblin that knows a bit of siren because he fought with the monster publicly in the monster world, and rumors about the fight must have already spread everywhere in the monster world. Siwoo was carefully listening to Sialho as monsters who he'll be easily eat won't want to fight him because they know his capability. She added that the monsters who will probably come at him are a monster he won't be able at his level at the moment. Sialho stood up and told Siwoo that if he lost a pheasant, he should boil and eat a chicken instead. Sialho told Siwoo to come outside because she has a present for him to show. Siwoo and Sialho both go outside the room to check what Sialho's present she had prepared for Siwoo. Sialho showed him a monster that she chained up and asked Siwoo if he liked her present. Siwoo looked at the monster and Sialho told him that it's not actually a monster because it's lost its rights as a monster. She told Siwoo that the causes of monsters are all different and some monsters lose their sense of reason and lose themselves to their instincts, and told Siwoo that he also became like that after he becomes rampage and lost control of himself. For other cases, where the monsters aren't as lucky as Siwoo and did something they can't undo. In the monster world, monsters who lost their right to be called as monsters have been stigmatized by others and call them as beast instead of monsters. They deprive them of their rights as monsters. A shudderwalk was what they call the beast in the Korean peninsula. Sialho was on the roof and asked Siwoo why he was staring at her. As Siwoo was listening to Sialho, the beast was standing behind Siwoo and attempts to attack him. Sialho repeats to Siwoo that she brought him a beast that's lost its sense of reasoning. The beast attacked Siwoo without hesitating, and knowing Siwoo's capabilities, Siwoo immediately moved fast and dodged the attack. He pants as soon as he dodges the beast's attack and barely dodge. Sialho looked at Siwoo as he dodges the attack and thought Siwoo would freeze and hesitate to move, leading him to get beat up, but to Sialho's surprise, Siwoo was using his body better than she expected him and thinks that she might have underestimated him. The beast stared at Siwoo and Sialho thinks that even if Siwoo had dodged the attack, Siwoo must be running away for as long as possible. The beast who was caught by Sialho was originally from the fire dog family and made a name for himself. But because of its greed of wanting to represent his family in the upcoming festival, the beast was found guilty of forcefully kidnapping monsters and eating them. The beast surpassed its limit and could not handle all the monster force he had eaten, so he went crazy and lost control of himself. The beast kept attacking Siwoo as it thinks Siwoo would be a good prey. Siwoo dodges the attack of the beast as he was about to get hit. He looks at the monster as it keeps charging towards him. To his surprise, the monster had already gotten closer to him. Sialho just stared at Siwoo and the beast and was wondering if Siwoo is unable to swing the goblin's club consciously, and a fight that she was not expecting Siwoo to win. Even thought the beast from the fire dog family has lost its sense of reasoning. He is an opponent whose physical ability is one level higher than Siwoo. Sialho thinks that Siwoo was not compatible with grabbing and throwing aspect of siren. What Sialho did is cruel but definitive method to awaken Siwoo's instinct that only comes out when Siwoo was on the brink of death. Siwoo was in a position like he was about to fight the monster using close combat and his physical ability. Sialho was surprised by what Siwoo is doing and actually thinks of fighting the monster. Siwoo threw a punch to the beast and were able to land an attack on the beast. Back in the human world, Siwoo practices boxing as a part of his physical exercise. The personal trainer compliments Siwoo and told him that his athleticism is better than he thought it was. He only thought that Siwoo's goal was only to lose weight, and did not think Siwoo would be good in boxing. As Siwoo was learning, the trainer has any thoughts on learning boxing properly as he thinks he have potential. Siwoo told the trainer that he'll think about it when he lost weight. The trainer was eager and told that he can naturally lose weight if he was consistent in boxing. The trainer told him to try it for just 6 months and his employee will take care of his diet and training, and said that with Siwoo's skill he could definitely aim for competitions. The trainer added that his weight will naturally shed of his body when he'll be consistent in boxing. Siwoo just smirked at the personal trainer and thought that it will be nice if boxing had an effect to lose weight. Siwoo swiftly dodges all the attacks from the monster. Siwoo thinks that unlike others who trained in the martial arts, the boy's goal was not physical strength or fighting. Siwoo wanted lose weight, unlike other who weight is their least concern, yet Siwoo thinks that it is a big concern for her. Despite Siwoo's consistent effort on trying to lose weight, his efforts all come to vain. Siwoo was still trying to fight at the beast as it was still attacking him. The beast did not stop attacking Siwoo. Among the sports that Siwoo had done in his elementary days, 7 of it were all combat sports. Siwoo continually took the beast's attack and was still holding off. Siwoo's physical strength and his effort in natural-born athleticism as a goblin made him perfectly absorb all the skills from those 7 combat sports. The beast was punched by Siwoo aggressively and strong as its teeth came off. Sialho was surprised that what Siwoo was doing to the beast does not make sense to her. The beast got beat up after Siwoo landed an attack on him. Siwoo immediately came back to his normal state and asked Sialho how he was supposed to eat the beast that he had killed. The beast lay bloody on the ground as Siwoo beats him just using his own physical strength. Siwoo could not believe that he had single-handled the beast. Sialho was still confused what Siwoo did and wonders if what he did was martial arts. Sialho hopes that what Siwoo had isn't the power he had from the start because in the end, it is a technique created by humans and isn't made to match a monster's body and strength. She thought that Siwoo hasn't been long since he gained a monster's body, but was able to fight and cleanly get a sense of things and use it in an actual fight. After Sialho had observed what Siwoo can do, Siwoo suddenly asked what more does he need to do after he fights the monster. Siwoo told her that he thinks he won because the monster is down and told Sialho that he surely does not have to eat the monster to take the monster force like what exactly she had said earlier. Sialho smirked and told Siwoo that he was correct for what he said. She added that they should talk first after he had surely won. Siwoo was confused what Sialho had said. Suddenly, Siwoo thinks that he beats the beast but it has bitten him from his back while he did not even notice. Siwoo was surprised that the beast has bitten him off. The beast dragged him as he bites Siwoo along. Siwoo's blood dripped all over the place as he took a great damage from the beast. After the beast had bitten him, Siwoo lays on the floor and was struggling to get up as the beast critically damaged and bitten him from his back. The beast had gone crazy as it bit Siwoo and tasted a human blood. Siwoo groaned in pain from the bite and could not believe how badly he has been bitten by the beast. He trembled as he saw his injury and saw his flesh was devoured by the beast. The beast continued to attack him and Siwoo was thrown off by the attack and could not even dodge it. Sialho thought that Siwoo had more than enough time left after he responds to the situation and awakened the Goblin's club. Siwoo trembles as he was in pain from he attacks. Sialho thought that the biggest reason why humans are scared of getting injured is not because of the pain. Humans fear the loss of a part of their body that may be either permanently deformed or completely lost. Sialho thinks that it is a primary fear that humans are naturally born with. Siwoo looks at the monster scarily as he thinks he has no match for the monster. The reason why Siwoo had a panic attack was caused by the bite of the beast from his flesh. Suddenly, as Siwoo was thinking about his flesh, his body turned back to its original form and his injury was healed fast. The beast attacked Siwoo and attempts to scratch his body. Siwoo stood and froze as the beast was about to attack him. Siwoo suffered a scratch to his body, but to his surprise he did not even feel the attack. The scratch from the beast were easily healed and has gone back to normal like nothing happened. Siwoo dodges the second attack from the monster. Sialho thought that humans and monster have many differences between the two species, that it's meaningless to count. Siwoo prepared to attack as Sialho contemplates that if he were to pick the difference between humans and monsters, it will be the body's durability and recuperative ability. The beast was immediately knocked off by the punch of Siwoo. He prepares the attack and continues to attack the beast with his utmost strength. As long as a monster isn't dead or fatally wounded, injuries that Siwoo may also suffer are meaningless. The moment Siwoo accepts the thought that it's common sense, the restriction from his body from his unconscious self to protect itself it lifted and the limitations of which physical abilities can be exercised are increased greatly. The beast could not handle the punch of Siwoo that he can't even dodge it. Siwoo threw a strong punch that the beast flew away far to his location. As Siwoo landed a finishing attack to the beast, he thought that his arms were going to break as he punches the beast but were glad that his attack definitely paid off. The blows and punches from Siwoo had gotten several times stronger and much more compared to what he did earlier as the rebound he get from swinging his fist felt like he was getting hit by a car. Siwoo thinks that he was not the only one that was able to regenerate, and thinks about what happened when he regenerated and thought that it will be weird if it happens to him again. Finally, Sialho told Siwoo that the last attack will mark as the end because the blows he landed earlier were stuck in well in the location, as well as the force. Sialho told him that although the beast won't die from the attack, it definitely won't be able to recover fast and get back up. Sialho asks him what he thought after he felt of not losing his sense of rationality and using magic with the sound of mind in the first time of his life. Siwoo was surprised and did not know that he used magic. Sialho told Siwoo that even if it isn't a high-level magic, magic can be used in various ways. Siwoo realizes that his body rapidly regenerated due to the fact he had used magic, although he has not controlled it yet. Even the last punch that he swung earlier was the result of the magic used in addition to Siwoo's physical ability. Siwoo was still thinking what he did and what happened. Sialho asks if he felt anything else beside the powerful strike he did. Siwoo told him that he was not sure, but he felt something similar to static electricity. Sialho affirms him that what he felt was definitely magic, and because he does not have much experience, he won't be able to feel it clearly. Sialho points at the monster and told Siwoo that the reason she made him fight the monster is also to gain an experience, because if he fights and there's blood and he'll struggle to win, Siwoo must most likely to display his magic. The beast struggled as it tries to recover and get up. Sialho told Siwoo that she was surprised, and though he will struggle and roll around for 10 days before he gets a rough-on sense of things. Sialho compliments him and thinks that he is talented. Siwoo humbly smiled after Sialho complimented him. The beast had stood up in front of them, and Sialho told Siwoo to finish killing the beast. Sialho asked Siwoo if he had killed anyone up until now because he said he was prepared to do anything. Siwoo immediately answers Sialho and said he had not killed anyone. Sialho told Siwoo what to do and end the fight, what's best for both himself and to the beast. She added that if he just has sloppily leave fatal wounds, then his efforts up until now would be in vain. Sialho told Siwoo to attack the monster above the belly button. For the majority of humanoid monsters, above the belly button is the pressure point as well as the internal cinnabar that monsters store their magic. She told Siwoo to gather his magic and pierce the beast with one swing. Sialho thought that it will be hard for Siwoo because she thinks everything's hard during the first try. He stepped out and immediately came to the monster. Siwoo was ready to kill the monster in one punch. Siwoo gathered all his magic on his fist like what Sialho told him to do. A memory of Siwoo from his school and walking side by side with his friend has appeared. He also remembered a photo he took with his mom. Siwoo immediately tries to punch the beast with one fist. The beast took a great damage after Siwoo landed an attack on him. Sialho told him that he grabbed something in his fist and tell him to open his fist. An internal cinnabar appeared from his hands. A cinnabar is an item that is also called the magic bead, and if Siwoo swallows it, the owner's magic will become his. Siwoo swallowed the magic bead like what Sialho ordered him to do. He opened his eyes after swallowing the magic bead and thought what's going to happen to him. Siwoo thinks that there is going to happen to him if he swallowed the magic bead. Suddenly, a black bird appeared on the shoulder of Siwoo and talked, saying that originally, there should be something like sounds he'll hear if he swallows it. Siwoo was surprised and immediately shrugs off the bird on his shoulder. The bird flew away from him and transformed into a woman. Sialho seems to know the woman as she asks her what he was doing there out of blue and tells her that he was sure that she does not have anything to do with Siwoo. The woman sarcastically said that she was disappointed and told her that is there a reason for friends to meet. Siwoo looked at her as she said that she came because she had a business from Siwoo. The woman asked Siwoo if he was the half-goblin from the rumors she heard. The woman introduced herself as Salma and said she was a friend of Sialho who played with her ever since they were young. Siwoo immediately acknowledges her and said that it was a pleasure to meet her. Sialho asked Salma what is business that she came to them. Salma said that she has been going about working part-time for Grandpa Bogoman. Siwoo wonders how Salma spoke. Salma told Siwoo that since he had caught 2 demons, she had come to handle the settlement instead of Grandpa Bogoman and give the reward to him for catching them. Sialho told Salma that she's fine and give the reward to Siwoo because he is the one who knocked it out and was more qualified. Salma looked straight to Siwoo and told him that he was incredibly impressive since she was basically watching him from the start. Salma told Sialho that at this rate Siwoo may even become her competitor in the festival. Sialho thinks that Siwoo may be taken down the second he steps foot in it. Salma looked at Siwoo and told him that she thinks he has enough potential. As she was praising Siwoo, Salma was going to give his reward, but she will give him a choice. Salma gave him a chance to go home or take a chance to take a step forward as a strong monster and immediately asked him what reward would he want to choose.
Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more content like this. Leave a comment for the next part, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.